Hello everyone, welcome to part 2 of my Java collections tutorial. In the last video, we talked about arrays. Now we're going to talk about two-dimensional arrays. So what exactly is a two-dimensional array? A two-dimensional array, sometimes known as a matrix, is an array of arrays. And basically, what do you mean by that? So when I mean array of arrays, let me try defining one very fast. So to define a 1D array, all you gotta do is put the data type, put brackets, the name of the array, first equals, and then there are either two ways you can create a new array. You can create new int with a size. I'm just going to make it 5 for now. You can make it any size. And the second way is to already have values inserted. However, though, if you were to do this in a class, you need to put new int with brackets without anything inside. These are two ways you can create a 1D array. To create a 2D array, however, syntax is quite similar, but also very different. So let's say you have int brackets. We need two pairs of brackets because this technically states that this is an array of an int array. Array of int arrays, basically, rather than array of integers. So we're going to call this table equals. Now, of course, there are definite ways to do this. So of course, I separated each array into three. So that's 3, 1, 2, right? 5, 4, and then it's going to be 8, 2, 4, 1, and 2. Alright. So if we were to print this using the arrays class, then we can use arrays.deep2string table. There. It was already there. And semicolon. Now let's run it. See what this all prints out. So it prints out 312, 54, 82412. To traverse a 2D array by yourself, you will have to create a nested for loop. So for int I is 0, I is going to be less than table.length, then I plus plus. Because this loop is going to focus on the main array, because each array is actually an index. And of course, going into each index, you're going to create a nested for loop, accessing each index inside that array. So for int inner, we're going to call it inner. So actually, we should call it outer. We should call it O. And then there should be I. Int I equals 0. I is less than. Instead of doing table.length, we're going to do table at index O dot length. I plus plus. Now remember that table at index O, basically first case is 0, is basically this array. So basically you're looping through all these elements. So now what we're going to do is do system.print, not print line. And then of course, to access the elements, we put the name of the array plus the first brackets, alright, 4, and then let's create not 4, let's do O, because that relates to the index of the main array, and I is basically the index of the subarray. That is basically the best way to traverse through an array. And of course, after the inner for loop, we can just put a system.print line. So there are no spaces. Let's format this a little bit. So we're gonna make this nicer. There we go. So it's 312, 54, 82412. So this is definitely one way to create a 2D array. Another way to actually create a 2D array is to provide is to provide the size dimensions. So int, we're gonna call this a matrix here. Hold on, I forgot my second pair of brackets. This should be better. Alright, equals new int, and then inside we have 4 and 6. However though, if you provide a size for the column, the matrix will always be rectangular. We've gone into a 2D array type where I mean the amount of elements in each array are different. In this case, the amount of elements in each array are the same. Like for example, the matrix will contain 4 arrays, and in those 4 arrays, there will be 6 elements each. So now, of course, let's load random values. So of course, we have to traverse through the array. So for int I equals 0, hold on, O equals 0, because it's outer. O is less than matrix dot length, O plus plus, again, O refers to the index of the outer array, because matrix index O will refer to an array. And then we have to create a nested loop. I0, I is less than matrix and index O dot length. Then I plus plus. The main reason we're doing matrix O dot length is mainly so that we can reduce the chance for an out of bounds exception. If the rows and columns are the same, you can do matrix dot length. But it's a good practice to do matrix brackets O dot length. It's a good practice. So now we can just load the values. Matrix O outer and inner equals. In order to create a new random value, we need to do an integer cast math.random times. Let's try 101 because it will print values from 0 to 100. And then of course we're going to print the arrays deep string arrays.deep2string matrix. There we go. It auto did that for us. So let's run it. 70, 63, 91, 58, all those values. That is additionally a second way to define it. However, keep in mind this way, the keep in mind the 2D array will always be rectangular. Additionally, you can provide a size and have each array be scattered as well. So let me show you. So let's use a different data type now. So let's use a character. So we use char, 2 brackets, since we're using a 2D array now. We're going to call this letters equals new char, and then we have our 2 brackets right here. And what we're going to do now, this is going to be a bit different. We're going to provide a size for for the outer array, not the inner array. And then of course, we can just set the inner array to these elements. So letters, index O equals A, and then B and C. And of course, we have to do a new char. We have to do a new char as well. And then of course, we do 1, 2, 3, and 4. D, E, and then F, G, H. We're just going to remove it here, and then I, and then J right here. This one's gonna have like 1 element, J, K, L, M, N, and oh, there we go. And now all we gotta do now is print the deep2 string. Autocomplete doesn't really do this as well, so there it is, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, and then L, M, N, O. So we can provide a size right here. That is originally the fixed structure of a 2D array. So additionally though, 2D arrays can actually be used in classes as well, such as a light board or just or a table probably. Yeah. You can actually use it in a tic-tac-toe game, which I'll be focusing on in a later series. So that should be it on 2D arrays. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and we'll see you in another video. Goodbye.